I used to believe that the loudest person in the room was the one in control. I thought that if you wanted to be seen as a leader, you had to dominate every single second of the conversation. I believed that silence was a sign of weakness or a sign that you did not have anything valuable to contribute. I used to watch people who were fast-talking and think that their speed was a sign of intelligence. I thought that if I could just talk more and talk faster, I would finally be taken seriously. But I was completely wrong. I did not realize how wrong I was until I found myself in a room with people who actually run the world. I am talking about the true elite. The 1%. These are the people who do not just have wealth but who carry a quiet authority that changes the temperature of the room the moment they walk in. I expected them to be aggressive. I expected them to be constantly fighting for the spotlight. Instead, I found something much more mysterious. I found a paradox. The secret to speaking like the 1% elite is not about what they say. It is about how they refuse to speak. They do not use words to fill space. They use words to create it. This one thing changed how I view every interaction I have ever had. It was like a veil was lifted from my eyes. If you want to change how the world perceives you, it starts with a shift in your internal rhythm. It starts with realizing that your voice is a tool of precision, rather than a weapon of noise. Welcome to True Grit English Stories. I am so glad you are here in this quiet space with me today. Pull up a chair and let us unpack these secrets together as friends. I want you to take a deep breath and let the stress of the day fade away. We are going to talk about the power of what you do not say. Think back to the last time you were in a high-pressure situation. Maybe it was a job interview or a first date or a meeting with your boss. Think about how your body felt. You likely felt a frantic need to keep the conversation going. When a moment of silence occurred, it probably felt like an eternity. Your brain likely started screaming at you to say something. Anything. You probably use filler words like or like or you know. You might have even apologized for the quiet. Most of us are conditioned to fear the silence. We view it as a void that needs to be filled because we are afraid of being judged. We are afraid that if we are not speaking, we are not being useful. We think that silence makes us look slow or unprepared. This is the first barrier you must break. The elite view silence differently. To them, silence is a vacuum. It is a source of gravity. When you sit in a room with a high-status individual, and you ask them a difficult question, they do not rush to answer. They do not trip over their words to prove they have the solution. They sit with the silence. They let it breathe. They might look you right in the eye and just think for 3 or 4 seconds. In a normal conversation, 3 seconds of silence feels like a lifetime. But in the world of the elite, those 3 seconds are a display of immense power. By staying silent, they are signaling that they are not intimidated by the pressure of the moment. They are showing that their thoughts are worth the wait. They are telling you without saying a word that they are in control of the pace. When you rush to answer a question, you are subconsciously telling the world that you are a servant to the clock. You are telling the person across from you that their comfort is more important than your clarity. But when you master the pause, you flip the script. You become the person who sets the tone. People start to lean in when you are quiet. They want to hear what comes next because you have made them wait for it. This creates a sense of value around your words. If you are always talking, your words become cheap like common copper coins. But if you speak rarely and with intention, your words become like gold. This is the first step in moving from a person who talks to a person who is heard. I remember the first time I saw this in action. I was sitting in a very expensive boardroom and the air was thick with tension. A junior executive was trying to explain a mistake that had been made. He was talking so fast that his words were blurring together. He was sweating and his voice was high-pitched. He was trying to fill every gap with excuses and explanations. On the other side of the table sat a woman who was a legend in her industry. She did not interrupt him once. She just sat there with her hands folded and listened. When he finally ran out of breath and stopped talking, there was a long silence. It lasted for at least 10 seconds. The junior executive looked like he wanted to crawl under the table, but the woman was perfectly calm. When she finally spoke, her voice was low and slow. She said 5 words. "How do we fix this?" That was it. Those 5 words had more impact than the 10 minutes of rambling that came before them. That was the moment I realized that power is not about volume. Power is about weight. The rhythm of your voice tells a story about how you view yourself. Speed is often a sign of underlying anxiety. When you speak quickly, you are subconsciously telling the world that you are afraid of being interrupted. You are trying to get your point out as fast as possible because you do not believe you have the right to take up time. You are acting like a guest in your own life. The elite speak as if they have all the time in the world. They know that people will wait to hear the end of their sentence. They do not hurry because they know they are the destination. This is not about being slow or being boring. It is about being deliberate. Think of your speech as a slow-moving river rather than a splashing stream. A stream is loud and frantic and it moves around every rock it hits. But a river has weight. It has momentum. It moves with a deep and quiet force. It is difficult to stop a river. When you slow down, you give your words more impact. You allow your listener to process each thought. You become the person who sets the pace of the room instead of the person who is trying to keep up. This shift in rhythm is one of the most difficult things to master because it requires you to be comfortable with yourself. It requires you to believe that what you have to say is important enough for people to wait for. I want you to try something tomorrow. When someone asks you a question, do not answer immediately. Take one full breath before you speak. Just one. Notice how it feels. Notice how the other person reacts. You might feel a surge of panic at first, but stay with it. You will notice that the other person starts to look at you with more respect. You will notice that the energy in the room changes. You are no longer reacting to them. They are now waiting for you. This is how you begin to build that elite presence. It starts with the breath. It starts with the silence. It starts with the realization that you are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to be heard. And you are allowed to make them wait. You are doing a great job just by being here and listening to this. You are already beginning to change. I am proud of the progress you are making. Let us continue this journey together. Now that you have learned to breathe and embrace the silence, we need to move deeper into the forest of our conversation. We need to look at the actual words you use. This is where the mystery becomes a method. I want you to imagine your words as a limited resource. Imagine you only have 100 words to use for the entire day. If you knew your words were limited, you would choose them very carefully. You would not waste them on things that do not matter. This is exactly how the elite view communication. They treat their language like a precious currency. They do not spend it on filler or on fluff. I want to talk to you about the vocabulary of precision. Many people think that to sound like the elite, you need to use long and complicated words. They think they need to sound like a walking dictionary. But if you listen closely to the most powerful people in the world, you will notice something surprising. They actually use very simple language. They use the kind of English that a child could understand. But there is a massive difference. They use their simple words with absolute certainty. They do not hide behind big words because they are not trying to impress anyone. They are trying to be understood. There is a set of words that I call permission-seeking words. These are the small words that we use every day without even thinking about it. We use them because we are afraid of sounding too aggressive. We use them because we want everyone to like us. But these words are the biggest reason people do not take you seriously. Let us look at the word just. Think about how often you use that word. I am just checking in. I just wanted to ask a quick question. It is just my opinion. When you use the word just, you are shrinking yourself. You are telling the person you are talking to that you are small, and that you are not worth their time. You are asking for permission to speak. The elite never use the word just in that way. They do not say I am just checking in. They say I am checking in. They do not say it is just my opinion. They say this is what I believe. Can you feel the difference in the energy of those two sentences? One sounds like a person who is hiding in the corner. The other sounds like a person who is standing in the middle of the room. Removing that one word from your vocabulary will change your life. It sounds like a small thing, but it is a massive shift in how the world sees you. It moves you from being a person who asks for permission to a person who gives direction. Another word that steals your power is the word maybe. Or the phrase I think. We use these because we are afraid of being wrong. If we say maybe and we are wrong, we can tell ourselves that we were never fully committed. Feels safe. But safe is not elite. The elite are not afraid of being wrong. They are afraid of being unclear. When you say maybe we could try this, you are showing that you do not have confidence in your own idea. If you do not have confidence in your idea, why should anyone else? Instead of saying maybe, try saying I suggest we do this. Or try saying my plan is to do this. Even if you are not 100% sure, the way you speak should show that you are committed to the path. I used to be very guilty of this myself. I would go into meetings and I would start every sentence with a soft landing. I would say I am sorry to bother you, but I think we might want to look at this. I thought I was being polite. I thought I was being a good team member. But I noticed that people would often talk over me. They would ignore my suggestions. They did not do this because they were mean. They did it because my language told them that my thoughts were not important. I was signaling to them that they could ignore me. When I stopped apologizing for my presence, everything changed. I stopped saying sorry when I was not wrong. I stopped saying just and maybe. Felt very strange at first. I felt like I was being rude, but I realized that being clear is actually the most polite thing you can be. It saves everyone time. Let us talk about the way you finish your sentences. Have you ever noticed how some people raise the pitch of their voice at the end of a statement? It makes every sentence sound like a question. This is called upspeak. When you do this, you are subconsciously asking for approval. You are saying, here is my thought, do you like it? This is a very common habit for people who are trying to climb the social ladder. But the people at the top do not do this. They speak in downward inflections. Their voice stays steady or goes slightly lower at the end of a sentence. This creates a sense of finality. It shows that they are not looking for a thumbs up from the crowd. They have spoken their truth and they are moving on to the next thought. This is something you can practice right now. Say a simple sentence like the weather is nice today. Now say it again but make it sound like a question at the end. Now say it a third time and make sure your voice drops at the end. Can you feel how much more authority you have when your voice drops? Feels heavy. Feels real. This is the sound of the 1%. It is the sound of a person who knows who they are. I want to give you a secret tip for when you are speaking English as a second language. Many students feel they must speak perfectly to be respected. They think every grammar rule must be followed and every accent must be neutralized. But I have seen many people with perfect grammar who have zero presence. And I have seen people with broken English who command the entire room. The difference is the intention. If you are focused on your mistakes, you will look weak. But if you are focused on your message, you will look powerful. Do not be afraid of your accent. Your accent is a sign of your history and your strength. It shows that you speak more than one language, which is more than many people can say. The elite do not care about perfection. They care about impact. When you make a mistake, do not draw attention to it. Do not stop and say, "Oh, I am so sorry, my English is bad." That is the quickest way to lose the room. If you say the wrong word, just correct it and keep going. Do not make it a big deal. If you do not act like it is a mistake, the other person will not treat it like one. They are listening to the value of your ideas, not the placement of your verbs. This is a very important lesson in mindset. You belong in the room exactly as you are. Your value is not tied to your fluency. It is tied to your character and your perspective. Take a moment to sit with that. Think about all the times you have played it small. Think about all the times you have used those permission-seeking words. It is okay. We have all done it. But tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow you are going to be a little bit more deliberate. You are going to watch out for that word just. You are going to try to finish your sentences with a downward inflection. You are going to realize that you do not need to be perfect to be powerful. You are learning a new way of being. You are training your brain and your voice to take up the space they deserve. I am here with you and I am seeing your progress. You are doing something very difficult and you should be proud of yourself. Keep your head high and keep your words clear. We are just getting started on this journey together. We have traveled quite a distance together today. We have learned how to use silence as a tool. We have learned to remove the small words that make us feel tiny and weak. But there is a third secret that many people never discover. It is perhaps the most beautiful paradox of all. To speak like the elite, you must first become a master of not speaking at all. You must learn the art of the deep listen. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Think about a time when you were talking to someone and they kept looking at their phone. Or maybe they were looking over your shoulder to see who else was in the room. How did that make you feel? Probably made you feel unimportant. Probably made you want to stop talking and leave. Most people in the world are distracted. They are always thinking about what they are going to say next. They are just waiting for you to stop making noise so they can start making noise. But the elite do not do this. They do something much more powerful. The secret to elite communication is giving people your full presence. When a high-status person speaks to you, they make you feel like you are the only person on earth. Feels heavy and warm. It is a psychological gift. They are not scanning the room for someone more important. They are not checking their watch. They are absorbing what you say. They are looking at your eyes and listening to the tone of your voice. This creates a psychological bond that is incredibly hard to break. This is how they build loyalty. This is how they influence people. They understand that if you want people to value your words, you must first show them that you value theirs. It is the highest form of respect. When you are learning a new language like English, it is very easy to focus only on the output. You worry about your grammar and your pronunciation. You worry about finding the right word to say next. Because you are so worried about your own performance, you often stop listening to the other person. You become a person who is just waiting for their turn to speak. This makes you look anxious and low status. It tells the world that you are more concerned with your own image than the person in front of you. But if you shift your focus, it changes everything. If you decide to become the best listener in the room, your English will actually improve. You will start to hear the rhythms of the language. You will notice the small phrases that native speakers use. You will become a student of the moment. I want to give you some practical English tips for active listening. In English, we have many small words and phrases that show we are paying attention. We call this back-channeling. Instead of just nodding your head or saying, okay, try using words like exactly or certainly. These words have more weight. When you say exactly, you are telling the other person that you are on the same wavelength. You are showing that you have processed their thought and you agree with the core of it. This builds a bridge of trust between you. Another great phrase is "that is an interesting perspective." This shows that you are not just hearing the words, but you are thinking about the meaning behind them. It makes the other person feel smart. And when you make someone feel smart, they will naturally think that you are smart too. Another trick of the elite is the use of open-ended questions. Most people ask questions that can be answered with a simple yes or no. Do you like your job? Are you having a good day? These questions are dead ends. They do not lead anywhere. But high-status people ask questions that invite the other person to share their world. They say things like, "What led you to that decision?" Or "How did that experience change your outlook?" Notice that these questions do not have a quick answer. They require the other person to stop and think. By asking these questions, you are giving the other person the floor. You are letting them be the star for a moment. This is a very high-status move because it shows you are confident enough to step out of the spotlight. It shows you do not need to be the center of attention to be the most powerful person in the room. I want you to imagine we are sitting by a small fire. The light is flickering on the walls and the world outside is very quiet. This is the state of mind you should carry into your conversations. A state of calm focus. You are not a hunter trying to catch a prize. You are a gardener tending to a relationship. When you listen with this kind of presence, you are giving the other person a gift that is more valuable than money. You are giving them your attention. In our modern world, attention is the rarest thing there is. If you can give it, you will become a magnet for high-quality people. They will want to be around you because you make them feel seen. You might feel that your English is not good enough to ask these deep questions. But remember what we talked about in the last session. Simple language is often the most powerful. You do not need big words to ask a deep question. "Tell me more" is only 3 words. But it is one of the most powerful phrases in the English language. It shows curiosity. It shows respect. It shows that you are present. You can use these 3 words in almost any situation. Whether you are talking to a CEO or a friend at a coffee shop, "tell me more" will always make the conversation better. It takes the pressure off you to be perfect and puts the focus on the connection. There is a concept I want you to remember called the mirror effect. When you are calm and present, the person you are talking to will naturally become calm and present too. If you are rushing and nervous, they will feel that energy and they will start to rush too. By controlling your own internal state, you are controlling the energy of the entire interaction. This is the hidden power of the 1%. They do not try to control others. They control themselves. And because they are so stable, others naturally gravitate toward them. They become the anchor in the storm. I want you to practice this tomorrow. In your next conversation, try to be the person who speaks the least but listens the most. Use your simple phrases like exactly and tell me more. Watch the other person. Notice how they start to open up. Notice how they start to look at you with a new kind of interest. You are not performing a character. You are simply showing up with your full self. This is a very brave thing to do. It requires a lot of self-assurance to be quiet and let someone else lead the way. But this is where the true elite live. They live in the space between the words. I am so proud of you for staying with me through this. We are uncovering layers of ourselves that have been hidden for a long time. You are learning that your voice is more than just sounds. It is an expression of your soul. As you go to sleep tonight, let these thoughts settle into your mind. You do not need to shout to be heard. You do not need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be here. You are already enough exactly as you are. Tomorrow you will wake up with a new understanding of your own strength. Keep breathing. Keep listening. I am right here with you on this path. We have more to explore, but for now just rest. You have earned it. I will see you in the next part of our journey. Until then, stay calm and stay present. Your transformation is already happening. You are doing beautiful work. We are moving deeper into the heart of our journey. I hope you are feeling comfortable and at peace in this quiet space we have created. We have already explored the power of silence. We have learned to remove the small words that bleed our power. And we have discovered the magic of deep listening. But now we must look at something even more subtle. We must look at the invisible shield. This is the fourth secret of the 1% elite. It is the power of non-reactivity. This is the thing that separates the leaders from the followers. Most people in this world are like a dry leaf in the wind. When the world is kind, they are happy. When the world is harsh, they are angry or sad. Their internal state is controlled by everything outside of them. But the elite are different. They are the wind, not the leaf. They carry their own atmosphere with them. They do not let the chaos of the world dictate the rhythm of their heart. Think about a time when someone was rude to you, or when you received some bad news. How did you react? Did your voice get high and tight? Did you start talking faster to defend yourself? This is a natural human reaction, but it is a low-status one. It tells the world that you are easily moved. It tells the world that you can be controlled by a few words or a difficult situation. The elite have mastered the art of staying centered. When they are faced with a challenge, they do not react. They respond. There is a huge difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is a reflex. It is fast and it is often messy. A response is a choice. It is slow and it is deliberate. When you are speaking English, you might feel a lot of internal pressure to be fast. You want to show the world that you understand. You want to prove that you are smart and capable. But this desire to prove yourself actually works against you. It makes you reactive. If someone asks you a tough question and you jump to answer it within half a second, you are showing that the question has power over you. But if you take a breath and look them in the eye and wait for 2 seconds before you speak, you are showing that you have power over the question. This is the golden gap. It is the space where your character is built. In that gap, you are deciding who you want to be. You are deciding that your peace is more important than their pressure. I want to give you a very practical strategy for this. I call it the anchor phrase. When you are in a situation where you feel pressured, or where someone is being difficult, do not let your emotions take the wheel. Instead, use a simple anchor phrase to buy yourself time. One of the best phrases for this is "that is a very interesting point. Help me understand your logic." Notice how these words are very simple, but the energy behind them is massive. By saying "help me understand," you are not being weak. You are actually putting the work back on the other person. You are staying calm while they have to explain themselves. You are the anchor and they are the boat tossing on the waves. This is a very high status move because it shows you are not afraid of their perspective. You are curious about it, but you are not moved by it. In English, we have a lot of ways to disagree with people. Many people think they need to be aggressive to show strength. They use phrases like "you are wrong" or "I do not agree with that." But these words often lead to a fight. And a person who is always fighting is not a person who is in control. The elite disagree without being disagreeable. They use objective language. Instead of saying "your idea is bad," they might say "I see it differently." Or they might say "my experience has shown a different result." Can you feel the difference? When you say "I see it differently," you are stating a fact about your own perspective. You are not attacking the other person. This keeps the conversation productive and it keeps you in the position of the leader. You are the one who is providing the calm and the clarity that the room needs. Let us talk about the way your body and your voice work together to create this shield of non-reactivity. If you are saying calm words but your hands are shaking or your eyes are darting around, nobody will believe your strength. You must learn to ground yourself. I want you to imagine that there are roots growing from the bottom of your feet into the earth. You are solid. You are heavy. You are like a mountain. A mountain does not care if there is a storm. A mountain does not care if the birds are loud. Just exists. When you speak from this place of grounded energy, your voice will naturally become deeper and more steady. You will find that you no longer feel the need to fill every silence. You will find that you are comfortable just being there. This is a very important lesson for when you are speaking a second language. Many students feel like they are guests in the English language. They feel like they have to apologize for not being perfect. But when you are non-reactive, you stop apologizing for things that are not your fault. You do not say sorry for your accent. You do not say sorry for taking a moment to find the right word. You simply take the time you need. If you do not treat your pauses as a mistake, the world will not treat them as a mistake either. They will view your pauses as a sign of a deep and thoughtful mind. They will view your accent as a sign of your global perspective. You are the one who decides the value of your own speech. If you value it, the world will follow your lead. I want to share a story with you. I once knew a very successful businessman who was known for being the calmest person in any room. One day during a very big meeting, someone actually shouted at him. The whole room went silent. Everyone was waiting to see how he would react. He did not flinch. He did not get angry. He did not even change his posture. He just waited until the other person was done. Then he took a slow sip of water. He looked at the person and said, "It sounds like you are very passionate about this. Let us look at the facts together." That was it. He did not give the other person the fight they wanted. He stayed in his own atmosphere. By the end of the meeting, the person who shouted was the one who looked weak and embarrassed. The businessman looked like a king. He won not by being louder but by being more stable. This is what I want for you. I want you to be the person who is more stable than the situation. I want you to realize that you have a choice in every interaction. You can be the leaf or you can be the wind. Tomorrow I want you to try this. If someone says something that bothers you or if you feel rushed, just count to 3 in your head before you speak. Notice the feeling of power that comes from that tiny delay. Notice how it feels to be the person who decides when the conversation moves forward. You are learning to protect your internal peace. You are learning that your voice is a reflection of your soul. You are doing such good work. I can see you growing as you listen to these words. You are becoming more than just a speaker of English. You are becoming a person of character and presence. You are learning that the elite do not have a special secret code. They just have a different way of being in the world. They have decided that they are enough. And you are enough too. You do not need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be present and non-reactive. Take a deep breath with me. Let the tension leave your shoulders. You are safe here. You are learning. You are growing. We have one more step to take on this journey together. I will see you in the final part where we will bring everything together. Until then, stay calm and stay grounded. You are doing a beautiful job. I am very proud of you. We have reached the final part of our journey together today. I want you to take a moment and look at how far we have come in this quiet space. We have talked about the power of silence. We have explored the way words like just and maybe can steal your power. We have learned to listen with our whole hearts and to stay steady when the world gets loud. But there is one final piece of the puzzle. It is the invisible thread that ties everything else together. Without this one thing, everything else we have discussed is just a performance. It is just a mask you put on. And the 1% elite do not wear masks. They do not perform. They simply are. The final secret is this. You must believe that you belong in the room. I want you to sit with that thought for a moment. You must believe that you belong in the room. Most people spend their entire lives feeling like guests in their own conversations. They feel like they are waiting for an invitation to speak. They feel like they are lucky to be at the table. When you feel this way, it shows in everything you do. It shows in the way you rush your sentences. It shows in the way you look for approval in the eyes of others. But the elite do not wait for invitations. They do not feel like guests. They feel like they are at home no matter where they are. This is a shift in your internal reality. It is a decision you make before you even open your mouth. You see, the way you speak is a direct reflection of how you view your own value. If you think you are small, you will speak small. If you think you are a burden, you will speak quickly to stop being a burden. But if you know that your perspective is valuable, you will speak with a natural weight. This is why the elite do not need to shout. They know that what they have to say matters. They know that they have a right to be heard. This is not about being arrogant or being better than anyone else. It is about a quiet internal certainty. It is about knowing your truth and letting it land exactly where it needs to. When you are speaking English as a second language, this can be very difficult. You might feel like your mistakes make you less valuable. You might feel like your accent is a barrier to being taken seriously. But I want to tell you something very important. Your value is not tied to your grammar. Your value is tied to your mind and your heart. The elite know this. They do not care if they use the wrong tense occasionally. They do not care if their accent is thick. They care about the impact of their ideas. They focus on the connection rather than the perfection. When you stop worrying about being perfect, you actually become more powerful. You become more human. And people are always more attracted to a real human than a perfect robot. Let us look at a final practical English tip. This is about the way you frame your thoughts. Most people use what I call hedging language. They say things like "I could be wrong but" or "this is just a thought." They do this because they want to protect themselves from being judged. But this actually makes you look less reliable. The elite use direct framing. They say "here is what I see," or they say "my recommendation is this." They state their observations as facts of their perspective. They do not hedge. They do not apologize for having a thought. By being direct, you are showing that you trust your own mind. And when you trust your own mind, others will start to trust you too. I want you to imagine you are walking into a room full of the most successful people in the world. Instead of looking at the floor or checking your phone, I want you to imagine looking around with a soft smile. I want you to imagine that you are the host of the party, even if you are just a guest. This is a mental trick that the elite use all the time. They take responsibility for the energy of the space. They are the ones who make others feel comfortable. They are the ones who initiate the silence and the conversation. When you take responsibility for the room, you are no longer a victim of the room. You are the leader of it. Think about the words we have shared today. Silence, precision, presence, stability, belonging. These are not just English tips. These are the building blocks of a new way of being. You are learning to move through the world with grace and authority. You are learning that your voice is a beautiful instrument that deserves to be heard. You are learning that you do not need to be the loudest person to be the most influential. You just need to be the most present. You just need to be the most real. I am so proud of the work you have done here with me. Takes a lot of courage to look inward and change the way you communicate. It is much easier to just keep doing what everyone else is doing. It is easy to be loud and frantic and distracted, but you have chosen a different path. You have chosen the path of the quiet elite. You have chosen to value yourself in your words. This is a gift that will keep giving for the rest of your life. Every time you take a breath before you speak, you are honoring yourself. Every time you remove a permission-seeking word, you are claiming your power. As we finish our conversation, I want you to remember that this is a practice. You will not be perfect tomorrow. You might still use the word just a few times. You might still feel a bit nervous in a big meeting. That is okay. This is a journey of 1,000 small steps. Each time you notice yourself falling back into old habits, just gently bring yourself back to the center. Take a breath. Find the silence. Remember that you belong. You are not a student who is failing. You are a leader who is practicing. And I believe in you more than you know. I want to leave you with a small challenge for the next 24 hours. Why don't you try to have one conversation where you do not use any filler words at all? No or like or you know. If you find yourself wanting to say one of those words, just stay silent instead. Let the gap be there. How about you see how it feels to let that silence breathe? You might be surprised at how much more powerful you feel. You might be surprised at how much more people listen to you. You have all the tools you need inside you right now. You are ready. You are capable. You are elite. Thank you for spending this time with me at True Grit English Stories. It has been an honor to be your mentor today. I hope you feel a sense of peace and a sense of possibility. Go out into the world and use your voice with intention. Speak your truth with a downward inflection. Listen with your whole soul. And never forget that you have every right to take up space. You are doing amazing work. Keep breathing. Keep growing. I will be here waiting for you the next time you need a quiet space to learn. Until then, take care of yourself and stay grounded in your own strength. I am so glad we took this journey together. Sleep well or have a beautiful day. You are exactly where you need to be.